Well, hello and welcome. I'm Miss Heard with Miss Heard Song Lyrics Podcast. We're in Season 7, Episode 343. The Miss Heard song lyric is, feeling like a ham and mustard shake. And then the correct lyrics is, feeling like a hand in rusted shame. You guessed it? Well, it's our first ever Stone Temple Pilots Miss Heard Song Lyric, or STP. And we're talking about their famous song, Interstate Love Song. So let's begin. So, first of all, is there such a thing as a mustard shake? I'm guessing for those runners, because I used to run, it probably would not be bad to have that, because I know with a lot of us runners, and myself included, I have a lot of cramps. So having that mustard or that salt intake will help. But I digress. It is not about a mustard shake. It's about a hand in rusted shame. What does that mean? So doing some checking around. I'll go into specifics more, but the phrase was written by lead singer Scott Weiland, of Stone Temple Pilots for the guilt, and it's like a metaphor for the guilt and decay associated with his heroin addiction, and that the lies he told to hide it from his then fiance, who then became his wife and then ex-wife, Janina Castaneda, as she realized he has broken his promise to stay sober. I'll go into details more about that, but that's the main reason of that lyric of hand in rusted shame. The rusted suggests that something that was once strong has become corroded, neglected, dirty over time. And then the hand in shame represents the feeling of being caught, or the physical act of reaching for something like a drug that brings immense regret. So sad all around, but lyrically, haunting, right? So let's talk about Stone Temple Pilots, or they're also seen as STP. They're an American rock band formed in, San Diego, California, back in 1989. So when they were forming it, was I there? No, I was not there. I didn't get to San Diego, California. So in the United States of America, if you're listening outside of the U.S., I didn't get there until 1990. So around that time, the band originally consisted of lead vocalist Scott Weiland. I know I'm saying it wrong. Sorry, folks. Drummer Eric Kretz and brothers Dean on guitar and Robert DeLeo on bass. And the band's lineup remained unchanged from its formation until the firing of Scott Weiland in February 2013. Okay, so let's start at how it began, because were they always called STP? No, and you'll know why they pick their name, Stone Temple Pilots, that we know today. So in 1985 to 1992, they formed as Mighty Joe Young. And when I first saw that, I thought, isn't there a movie about that? I thought there was. So in 1985, Scott Weiland and his friends and their band Soy Distant, so it's spelled S-O-I Distant, D-I-S-A-N-T, or Descent, Soy Descent, sorry. Guitarist Corey Hickok and drummer David Allen, they first encountered a Robert DeLeo playing live at various gigs, deciding to track him down after witnessing his show. So that was like the impetus. Weiland, DeLeo, Hickok, and Allen would eventually become a band called Swing. So they moved to that, Soy Descent to Swing. Allen left after a few years, and the remaining members saw drummer Eric Kretz play in a Long Beach club and convinced him to join them. Then guitarist Hickok eventually left the band in 1989 in need of replacement and auditioned many guitarists, but then Robert suggested his older brother Dean, because Robert was already their drummer at the time, bass. And so at the time, Dean was a successful businessman, I think this is interesting, who had left behind a previous musical career but still played guitar as hobby. So the band managed to convince Dean to play for Swing, completing the original lineup. Shortly afterwards, the band changed its name to Mighty Joe Young and recorded a demo tape around 1990. The Mighty Joe Young demo featured tracks that would go on to be re-recorded for the band's first studio album, as well as some musical styles that would not be featured on any of the band's studio albums, such as funk and yodeling. God, I would love to hear the yodeling part. So Mighty Joe Young played several gigs in the San Diego area. Who knows, I might have been in one of those gigs and didn't realize who they were at that time, building up a fan base. With their first show was supported by none other than who I love, Henry Rollins, at the Whiskey A Go-Go in West Hollywood. Then the group began to work on their debut album with Brendan O'Brien. It's a lot of B's. During the recording, they received a call from their lawyer, who informed them that there was a blues man who already claimed the name Mighty Joe Young. So they're like, you got to find a new name. So this is how STP, Stone Temple Pilots, came to be. So they were inspired by the STP motor oil stickers that you still see today, that the band members were fans of their use. So they were like, how can we have our band name so we can use that logo, or something that looks like the STP logo? And they went through many iterations of the acronym, and they went with Stone Temple Pilots. And there you go. So back to the band, they had several lyricists. What happened, and you'll find out in a minute that the original singer, Scott Weiland, dies, but I'll go into that in a bit. And then they add Linkin Park's vocalist Chester Bennington to join the band in May of 2023, but also left, it sounds like 2 years later, November 2015. And then he dies on December 2013. So that is crazy. So let's just go into it right now. So Scott Richard Weiland was born on October 27th, 1967. He was an American singer and songwriter. He was best known for, of course, the lead vocalist of the rock band Stone Temple Pilots, which used to be Swing and other names, from 1989 to 2003. And then did his own thing, did other things with another band. And then from 2008 to 2013, he came back. They recorded 6 albums with them. Weiland is also known for being the lead vocalist of the rock group supergroup Velvet Revolver from 2003 to 2008. So that's that amount of time where he's not with this band. That's what he's doing. He also released 1 album with rock supergroup Art of Anarchy in 2015, as well as 4 studio albums solo and several collaborations with other musicians throughout his career. So very prolific. He is noted for his flamboyant and chaotic onstage persona, definitely, and he always changes his appearance and his versatile vocal style, so very chameleon-like. He also became known for his use of a megaphone for a unique vocal effect during concerts. He sold over 50 million albums with his various projects and collaborations. That's amazing. And then Weiland's career was plagued by, unfortunately, substance abuse, and leading to various high-profile arrests and his firings from Velvet Revolver and then Stone Temple Pilot, hence the song I explained earlier of like what the impetus was. And then sadly on December 3rd, 2015, at the young age of 48, he was found dead on his tour bus in Bloomington, Minnesota due to an accidental drug overdose. Okay, so there's Scott Weiland. Then they find another lead singer, Chester Charles Bennington, born March 20th, 1976. He was an American singer and songwriter who was the lead vocalist of the rock band Linkin Park. He was also the lead vocalist of Grey Days, Dead by Sunrise, and then became Stone Temple Pilots' lead singer at various points in his career. He was definitely important mostly as vocalist during the release of Linkin Park's debut album Hybrid Theory back in 2000. That's 26 years ago, guys, which was a worldwide commercial success. The album was certified diamond by the RIAA, which is the Recording Industry Association of America, in 2005, making it its best-selling debut album of the decade. He continued as the band's lead vocalist for their next 6 studio albums, from Meteora from 2003 to 2017's One More Light, with each charting within the top 3 spots in the Billboard 200. Then he formed his own band, called Dead by Sunrise, as a side project in 2005. The band's debut album, called Out of Ashes, was released on October 13, 2009. He then became the lead singer of Stone Temple Pilots in 2013 to release the extended play record High Rise on October 8, 2013, via their own record label, Playpen, but left in 2015 to focus solely on Linkin Park. And as an actor, I didn't realize this, he appeared in such films as 2006 Crank, 2009's Crank High Voltage, and 2010's Saw 3D. Unfortunately, too, Bennington struggled with depression and substance abuse for most of his life, and then starting in his childhood. On July 20th, 2017, he was found dead at his home in Palos Verdes Estate, California, and unfortunately was death by suicide. So here you have 2 different lead singers of Stone Temple Pilots, 2 years from apart of each death. Very sad, and just want to bring out that if you know of anyone that needs help, please help and get them help, because these individuals definitely were struggling with something in their lives, and unfortunately substance abuse was the answer for both of them. And I do want to note that Hit Parader magazine placed Bennington at number 46 on their list of the top 100 metal vocalists of all time. So very well known, and his voice still, you can hear it till today. So what happens? Bennington passes away, and then in 2016, the band is needing a lead vocalist, right? So they launch an online audition for a new lead vocalist, and a gentleman by the name of Jeff Gutt was ultimately announced as their new lead singer on November 14, 2017, so almost 9 years ago. And then after forming under the name, so there you go with who the lead singer was. And back to the band's, I guess, succession of name change from Mighty Joe Young and now Stone Temple Pilots, They had their debut album, Core, which was released in 1992. Major commercial hit. SCP released 4 more studio albums. Purple's 1994, Tiny Music Songs from the Vatican Gift Shop, love that name, 1996, Number 4 in 1999, and Shangri-La-Dee-Da in 2001, before separating acrimoniously in 2003. And like I said, some of the members, like Scott Weiland, went to Velvet Revolver, and others did their own thing. So lots of changes. And while initially rising to fame as part of the grunge movement of the early 1990s, SCP further releases from the band explored a variety of styles, including psychedelic rock, bossa nova, and classic rock. And then Stone Temple Pilots was regarded as one of the most successful rock bands of the 1990s, having sold more than 18 million albums in the U.S. and 40 million worldwide that decade. And again, and a majority of this stuff was no downloads. It's all going to the record album, a record store to buy the record, vinyl, cassette, single, CD, whatever it was. So that's amazing. So let's go back to the song. So the song was originally released as the second single from the band's studio album called Purple in 1994 on October 3rd, 1994. My gosh, 1994, I was a mere 22. Wow. One of the band's biggest hits, the one we're talking about today, Interstate Love Song, reached number 1 on the U.S. Billboard Rock Tracks chart on September 17th, 1994, replacing the band's previous single, Vaseline. This song stayed at number 1 for 15 weeks, a record at the time, and gave SCP 17 consecutive weeks at number 1. That's amazing. It also peaked at number 2 in the Billboard Modern Rock Tracks chart and in Iceland, as well as number 20th in Canada, so the Canucks love them too. Interstate Love Song has been hailed as one of the best songs of the 1990s and was included on SCP's Greatest Hits compilation, Thank You, in 2003. In 2009, it was named the 58th Best Hard Rock Song of All Time by VH1 and was ranked at number 17 on Australia's alternative music station called Triple J's Hottest 100 Countdowns of 1994. Now, song origin. I kind of alluded to it in the beginning of this podcast. Bassist Robert DeLeo brought in a song he had been working on when STP convened at a Cole rehearsal studio in Hollywood back in March of 1992. Says here, his brother guitarist Dean DeLeo said, quote unquote, "We were in Atlanta touring Core and Robert was playing around with the chords and the melody in a hotel room. I had a feeling about the song immediately. Robert DeLeo said it was originally a bossa nova song when he began to write it. When he played it for singer Scott Weiland, the vocalist started humming along and turned what was originally the melody for the song's intro into a chorus melody. Stone Temple Pilots recorded the song during sessions for Purple at the Southern Track Studio in Atlanta, Georgia. Weiland was able to complete his vocals for the song in one take, which is amazing. And according to songfacts.com, it says here, quote unquote, lead singer Scott Weiland wrote the song about his relationship troubles and his growing heroin addiction. When he wrote it, he thought about what kind of a liar he had become toward his then fiancée Janina Castaneda, which I mentioned earlier, and how he promised to stay off drugs when they went to Atlanta to record Stone Temple Pilots' second album, Purple. He didn't keep that promise, but in phone calls, he would tell Janina that everything was okay. How sad. The song is written from Janina's perspective, with Weiland imagining her seeing right through his lies. An interesting thing about STP songs, I don't know if you knew this, I just was today's old to find this out, that many STP songs, the title's not mentioned anywhere in the lyrics, which is not in this song. It was an interstate love in the literal sense because Scott Weiland wrote it in Atlanta while his fiancée was back in California, but he never sings it in this song. Check it out. And upon its release as a single, Interstate Love Song reached number 18 on the Billboard Hot 100 Airplay and number 1 on the mainstream rock charts, where it stayed for, like I said earlier, 15 weeks. Crazy. So music video. So it was actually uploaded back in YouTube on October 26, 2009. So this October it'll hit 17 years. It's at a whopping 86 million views and counting. And it's weird. It starts with this like old-timey black and white silent film, then cuts into the band in black and white, but with blue tinge around them, and then cuts with sepia and color. But you can tell it's not like an actual old-timey black and white. It's like they made it to look old-timey. And the music video was directed by Kevin Kerslake and had a, like I said, washed out color effect throughout the majority of the video. And it has this like creepy looking long nose, what they call protagonist, escaping from an unseen pursuer. And this protagonist in black and white old-timey look, his nose starts to grow longer. You're like, wait a minute, is it like Pinocchio? And now knowing what the song is about, it symbolizes the theme of lying in the song lyrics, how Scott Weiland kept lying to his then fiancée. And at the beginning of the video, an early so at song lyrics. So that's what it's about. If you have any great song selections like this Misheard Song Lyric, just send it to me at our Instagram under Misheard Song Lyrics. You can also send it to our Facebook or just a regular email at misheard, MISSHEARD songs @gmail.com. Till then, keep saying the songs wrong. Bye.